There she is.
Hello.
Hi, Eva.
Sorry,
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? Click the
I'm
wrong
doing
button
great.
to start with. Good grief. Now we got
That's
it
okay.
together. Okay.
All these Zooms are fun because did it happen to you today where you get signed on and then you get the alert? Zoom has to update before it lets you into the chat.
Oh, no, I got even worse than that. I got Zoom link invalid.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
no,
crazy.
finally we figured it out. So, and I'm just going to click on, whoops. Let me do a do not disturb really quickly. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Do your thing.
All right. Perfect. Here we go.
Awesome. How are you?
Super good. Super busy, which is actually a great problem to have,
Yeah, right. I mean, you've got a pretty big week coming up next week. Thursday, you and the band performing it Louder Than Life. And then Friday, your debut album hits the streets, Love, Drugs, and Misery, which, by the way, we're giving away copies of it on our radio station here, thanks to Better Noise Music, your record label. Very excited about that, yes. So, I mean, big week for you. Are you asking people to pinch you when you see them in person?
Absolutely. And I'm actually saying the words, typing them, pinch me when I'm doing social media posts, because it's true. I mean, we've dreamed so long about this moment. I don't know about the, if you're aware of the trajectory, but like we handed in the album and it was scheduled for release right as soon as COVID hit. So from March of 20, we've had this plan and we've been sitting on this music that we just feel so strongly about. And now it's finally like, we felt almost like the moment was impossible and now it's here.
Yeah, and I have to imagine that's kind of stressful when you have a record done that you're like super excited about, super proud of, and all of a sudden, boom, everything shuts down because of the pandemic. Nobody's really doing anything. Nobody's touring. I mean, you had to be on pins and needles like, come on, let's get this art going already, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that, at first it was, how in the world are we ever going to pivot to survive this as a band, as a business, as an artist, and then it was because we had just gotten started and then it was just like we couldn't start. So now we're just in this indefinite holding pattern, which, has its own goods and bads, I suppose, because had we released the record and then not been able to tour it, it would have been, probably would have just died right there.
Yeah.
So now there's a lot more, hopefulness around, putting this out. The fact that, I knew we had something good with Blow, but then, radio stations like you guys get a hold of it. You guys are like literally blowing this up, pun intended. And I just had no idea. I didn't see that coming though. I didn't see top 10 at active rock radio. Like there's no way. I was like, yeah, this is going to go this awesome. I mean, it's mind blowing, truly.
Well, I will tell you that the first time I heard the song, I'm like, wow, this is really good. And not having any idea who you or the band were, I'm like, wow, this girl can really sing. She's got some pipes on her. But besides that, the band is pretty awesome too. And then I started doing a little research, and I don't know when you put it out there or did it, but I came across your cover of Journey's Separate Ways. I mean, let's be honest, everybody likes Journey. They're a great band, right? And I'm like, dude, this is a hard song to sing for Journey, let alone most other bands covering, and you killed it. And you guys made it sound modern too. And I was kind of hoping that song was going to find its way to the record. It didn't though, right?
It's not. It's a very popular B-side now, but I'm hopeful that there might be some more life from that song down the road. It's crazy because we put that out and then all of a sudden Stranger Things uses it in the whole opening thing, and I was like,
right?
Missed opportunity. We were this close, but it was cool that that now as the song has a resurgence because it's been used in this wonderful popular Netflix series, which I have loved since season 1. So it was a really cool thing to do. But I think we have this trend amongst us as a band. We treat covers as though it's like go big or go home. And we try to really honor the fact that like those are some of the, the founding fathers and building blocks of rock music, right? Journey.
Yeah.
I mean, icons, right? So I'm like, if I can keep up with this and people love it, then I guess I'm doing something right.
And it feels like that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like that's your attitude about your current album, the new album, Love, Drugs, and Misery, is that you got to go big or go home because, I mean, you really tackled it with a couple of, it feels like there's different styles of music. There's some, some metal in there. There's some electronica. There's even a little, is it fair to say a couple of twinges of country in there? And then you do have a cover song on there. It's not the Journey one. It's you too, which is kind of interesting to also. you know?
It's the biggest rock band in the world, right?
Yeah. Might as well throw a cover of U2 in there.
I think that that there's something to a different approach as well with doing an obscure cover can also be a fun adventure. But I think that as a new developing artist, we were really focused on making a giant impression, right? We want the big splash, and I think we've done that.
Oh yeah, for sure you have. And I also think it's interesting too. The version of Blow that's on the album features Spencer from Ice Nine Kills, who, by the way, was just here in my city last Friday. How did that collaboration happen? Is it the connection from the movie The Retaliators, or how did he end up on your song? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but right now Spencer feels like the Justin Bieber of the rock and metal world because he's like on everybody's record. He guests on everybody. The dude is like everywhere.
Oh, they're killing it, literally, and that also pun intended because they're big horror buffs, right?
Sure,
like
sure, yeah, horrorcore, yeah.
Everything they touch is gold, absolutely. And so in I knew this when we first wanted to get Spencer on the track, so it was very interesting to me that because of Blow being chosen to be the single, we knew that was going to be that was going to be what we pushed. So they wanted it for the Retaliator soundtrack. And then they floated it over to the Ice Nine Kills camp, and they were like, "We'd like to see if Spencer wants to hop on the track." And I'm like, "We're new here. Is that even an option?" Like you said, he's like a rock star darling of this whole, So I was like, "All right. I mean, if you really think you can kick it that far, let's try it." He not only wanted to get on the track, he was like, "Hey, we should do my part, the second verse, as though it's my character from the film speaking." And I thought that was a beautiful way to tie it in, right? I'm like, mind blown. This is great. So
that's how you know. Sorry for interrupting, but that's how you know he's genuinely into it, right?
Into it, right?
Yeah, yes, he's down.
And this was all via Zoom call, right? Because the world was weird still. That was pandemic, and nobody was touring at that time when he had gone into like his own personal studio and recorded this. And then fast forward to the following year, we had released a song. It's doing really, really awesome things. And I caught up with him at not this past Welcome to Rockville, but the one before that. So 2021, the first year it came back. And we had just last minute we were able to open. So I see him as we're in like the artist quarters, right? He's just kind of walking by, and I went, I didn't know if he was gonna like remember me or what. I just say, and he goes, "Hey, I'm about to blow," and he starts walking over singing my hook, man. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
Amazing. He's like, "What's up, man?" We took a picture together. He's the sweetest human on the face of the planet, and everything is great.
That's really rad. Now you have to get him on stage with you the next time you guys are in the same place at the same time, right? Because if he clearly knows the hook, so
right. I'm like,
if he can belt it out backstage, he can belt it out on stage.
There you go, right? So, let it be known to all the powers that be, including Spencer. If you hear this, you just got an open invitation to crash our set if and when we ever wind up on the same stage. Just throwing it out there.
So I mentioned it is coming out next Friday for us, September 23rd. Love, Drugs, and Misery. Tell me about the title, because I know you're a psychotherapist. I don't know if a lot of people know that, which is pretty cool that you're a rock star and a psychotherapist. But tell me about the meaning behind it, because it has to have a particular meaning, right? And it's personal, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, and then it's funny because I think you started it. So this is kind of a play on the term sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right?
Right.
And this is my own little version of like kind of the generation after the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll craze, where everything was a big party. And then, but what people don't realize is that with that type of lifestyle, things get messy, things get weird and sideways real quick. And it really becomes very dark, And so this Love, Drugs, and Misery album was titled that because it's a lot of the themes that you'll hear on the record. When you listen lyrically, this is why I wanted it to be bold and sort of in your face and not really like flowery poetic sort of title. These are the themes that you hear because this is the story that we've lived, and it's not just my story either. I think collectively my bandmates would agree as well that this whole like addiction epidemic in and of itself has affected many of us and many of our loved ones, specifically loved ones that are parents, honestly, in my band. So it was a really weird thing for us to be like adult children trying to figure out how to now, not allow our parents to fall off the, bandwagon, so to speak. And then songs like Heroin being exactly that, where there was that was the drug that was involved, and it was also not my job to save them. So there's a lot of emotional roller coaster on this record. I mean, there's songs that are just take your brain out, feisty. They have a lot of, like you said, a country vibe with songs like Misery, and songs like even maybe Unstoppable, which was, my parents were the high school sweethearts, but the 80s burnout kids, with black leather and red Corvettes. My dad used to steal his sister's red Corvette and go pick my mom up for Joyride. So that's what their song came from.
Right.
But so these are the themes that we've kind of lived. And so there are a lot of fun songs, but there is also a lot of meaning.
I'm glad even that you mentioned Heroin, because I was literally watching that video before we jumped on the Zoom here. And man, the imagery is pretty powerful. I mean, I think it clearly hits home as you see your expressions in the video. And, for those of people watching that haven't seen it, I encourage you to go check it out, because it really is a powerful story. It really is. And clearly it falls thematically, is that fair to say, under your Love, Drugs, and Misery album title?
Absolutely. That song was part of it in a big way. And as a matter of fact, I was, shout out to my team, my guys in the band, and also our producers who worked with us, because at the time when we wrote that song, that experience of losing my father was really close to me, like just timeline wise. So I was really a mess while penning these lyrics. So I'm sitting down there at Niagara Falls, and they all just kind of like let me have my space. Like they left me there, but just went upstairs. So they were like, if I needed them, they were there. Left me there with my Kleenex box, and they were texting each other, let me know when it's safe to come back down. I don't want to mess up her process, but is she all right?
Right.
It's like, guys don't know what to do when girls cry. I get it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's Speaking fair. As a guy that's been married a long time, yeah, that's fair.
They don't get it. It's fine.
Yeah.
They were being supportive as best they could. But it was, a very powerful moment for me. And I think even with the label, I hadn't realized, because we were new to the label at that time, and they said, hey guys, we got this demo that you sent, and we were wondering if we could get that one early so that it could be on this other soundtrack for this movie that we're doing called Snow Babies. And I think that was just a really cool thing for me as a person to realize that my label honors this flag that I wave, this story that I have, that I've lived. It's very powerful. I mean, Nikki Sixx is on the label, and, he's got Heroin Diaries. And so this is very relevant, anti-drug recovery message is very important to the label, and not just their artists, but, the A&R reps that we're talking. So I'm on the phone with him, and I'm like, you don't know what this means to me, because you don't know me yet, but thank you so much. So that's how it started. But yeah, it's a roller coaster, this album, man.
You mentioned the rest of your bandmates trying to be as supportive as they can. I'm curious, does that apply to when they inevitably the requests always come, hey, we want to talk to Eva, where's Eva, that kind of stuff? Do they get it?
Oh, totally. I mean, they sent, they're the ones setting me up for tribute. They're like, yeah, here she is. Right? Here's our friend, talk to the singer. But yeah, I think that that's absolutely accurate in the sense of, like, radio and podcasts. And so, and on the internet side of things and on the radio side of things, and I get to be front and center, and I honor that. I like that. And it's fun for me to, I have a lot of things that are really exciting to talk about. But what I do like is, like, when we're in person, when we're at the shows and things like that, they are also ready and willing and able to be peacocks, and they will go up there and they will love it just as much as I do. And they're costuming on stage, from the way that they're up there and the way that they engage with the audience too. Very often, because we're just starting out, we're at the merch booth, all of us at the merch booth after the show and stuff. We want to talk with people and meet people, and so they're just as engaged. But yeah, they don't really fault me for being the one that people want to chat with.
I love that too, that you guys are willing to get, and there's a lot of bands that do, but I think it's really cool, bands that will get out there and after their set go hang out at their merch table and just meet fans, whether they're buying something or they're not, and at least just say thank you. It's very cool that bands take the time to do that in this day and age. You know what I mean?
Oh, you need to. We need to have. It's funny. I was
that connection.
that connection. catching up with a couple of like, you know, seasoned veterans that have been out there touring for many years, and they were like, man, that's how the hustle needs to start. It's that Warped Tour hustle mentality.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because that connectedness, I think it's a special thing that exists in rock music, maybe even more so than other genres. It's like people love the raw and real, authentic side of this type of music, and that's the type of connection that they are looking for with their artists. And so being in a position to do that is just kind of a beautiful thing.
I see you have a guitar hanging there behind you on the wall. Is that the one you grab when you're inspired, or you have a train of thought going through your head, you know, something lyrically or something that happened to you? Is that what you grab and just kind of work things out?
Not particularly that one. This one over here, though, is the one that Rob will often grab, because yeah, we all jam at my house, and that's our rehearsal space. So the one that is this away is an electric guitar that he always grabs, and we kind of jam on. This one is just more for show. I think somebody gave this. This one's Duffy.
it's got some heritage on it, right?
Yeah, somebody gave it to us, and it's not a good, like, it's good for looks, you know.
We've got a few of those. I'll move my screen a little bit. We've got a few of those here in the studio behind me that are, you know, obviously we don't play them because most of them are autographed by somebody, but there you go. There's one or two of those. There's one or two of those that are like really low on the end that we would never play, even if we could.
I was just looking back to see. I'm like, I don't even know if that thing still has 6 strings on it. Like, I think one of the strings might have been busted, and it was just like a 5.5 string guitar.
Are you and the band doing anything next Friday aside from playing, you know, a huge rock festival the day before to celebrate the release of Love, Drugs, and Misery?
Oh yeah, we'll probably get. I mean, what's cool about the fact that we're doing these festivals, right, and stuff, is like we're a band that constantly wants to be on tour, but like, you know, with fall approaching and us just getting started, sometimes things don't line up, but it does allow us to be in our hometown for the release of this record. And so I'm sure there's just going to be a massive drove of friends that are like, you come out with us, we're heading out to, you know, down to Wyandotte, where there's just like, we all can, it's like the Wyandotte is the popular like bar, food, restaurant hub where we're from. So we'll probably just go walk around at night and be partying.
What you need to do is do the thing like Papa Roach did recently. They played a pizza joint like back in their hometown or something like that. I think Shakey's Pizza or something. Like, you got to find a place in your hometown, at Michigan, right? You're back in Michigan, and just, you know, bring some guitars and just turn it up and go. Right, that would be cool.
We're definitely
show up and play.
Yeah, show up and play. Exactly. So our label gave you the skinny on having the physical copies of the album, right? That you guys are giving away for us. Thank you so much for all of you and your listeners. But what we are doing to celebrate is like an actual physical like album release party here.
Oh, that's like, very cool.
Yeah, in one of the bar gigs that we always used to play. You know, it's affectionately called Token Lounge.
That's great.
You know, maybe like a 700 or 100 capacity room or something like that. But we're bringing a bunch of local friends out to come and open the show for us, and we're throwing a massive party, and that way we will. That'll be closer to like November-ish, I think. We just released details about it, November 19th, I believe. And so we'll have the physical copies there and stuff like that for people. So we're excited about that.
I know you have the couple of festival shows lined up, because I was just looking at your website for dates and all that before we jumped on. But if you had a chance to jump on a tour with anybody, is there anybody in particular that like you would love to go and open with?
Absolutely. Papa Roach, Ice Nine Kills, Hailstorm, Shinedown.
It's like, you were totally prepared for that, weren't you?
I have dreamed of this moment. Trust me, friend.
Yeah.
I've already had.
I can tell you, the Shinedown dudes, they are some great guys. They've played here in Northeast PA a couple of times, and they are just genuinely nice dudes. I'm trying to Hailstorm. They're from Pennsylvania. Lizzie is super cool. Those are all great bills. That would be awesome for Eva Under Fire to be on the same bill as Hailstorm.
Can I tell you that we got to open for them twice, just on one-offs. One of them was a rescheduled date in Charlotte. She brought me up on stage to sing Rock Show with them.
See that? Like, how fun was that?
It was so crazy. So crazy. So
was that a surprise?
Right. Those guys are killer.
Was that a surprise? Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Were you like
Joe,
freaking out?
yes, if you see, you should scroll around on Instagram because my face is real funny.
All right.
It was crazy. So I'm standing side stage and I'm recording it because that's my favorite song, and it's a song from a long time ago that they don't often play now. But it was a special set with an acoustic side of this set. So I'm standing side stage. I'm recording it because I'm excited that they're playing it. And Joe, you can actually see Joe walk up, and he's playing, and he's like,
Come
this
here.
way, come this way. You know, he's doing
Right.
the head motion thing because I'm like, are you calling me to the stage right now? It was wild. And it was so surprising. Like, I'm sorry to their security team because I also surprised them, but, but it worked out, and he called them off and everything was great.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah. So we've been able to meet some of these people in passing as well. At Welcome to Rockville, I actually caught up with Zach Myers because one of their radio stations was like, "Hey, do you want to help me guest interview Zach?" Which was super rad. So
Yeah.
so here we go. You know, like the possibilities are just kicking the doors wide open. Go big or go home. The album's coming out. I can't wait to see what's next. I really can't wait.
Yeah, I hope what's next is a date here in Northeast PA, so we get a chance to have you here in the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area. That would be awesome. You know, we've
Yes,
got
I love
a couple
it.
of great stages here in Northeast PA, so it'd be awesome to have Eva Under Fire on one of them, if not both, at some point, wouldn't it?
Oh
Thanks so much
gosh,
for
yeah.
taking the time today, man. You are awesome to chat with. I hope we can do it again, maybe even in person when you're out this way.
Yeah, you know what? You've heard the album, so you know that there is some level of involvement from the guys in From Ashes to New, and I believe that we've played with
Yeah,
them near Scranton area before, so
yeah,
might be able to look this up.
they're from Lancaster, so they're not too far away from us, actually,
Sick,
you know?
sick.
So
I love
and
it.
like I said, Spencer was just here on the Trinity of Terror tour with Motionless in White, who are from my city. So we could probably find a way to make that happen, pull a few strings to get Eve Under Fire here.
We were just manifesting, Bren. This is what it's all about.
That's it. That's what it's all about. Well, congrats on the new album and getting to play like a huge stage at Louder Than Life and some of the other festivals. I'm really excited for you guys. I dig the album. I can't wait to give copies of it away to listeners here for 97.9X because I think they're going to like the album too. So thanks so much for the chat today. This was awesome.
Thank you. 97X, killing it. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.